morning, my humble duty is to discuss with all present a subset of project management, which is risk assessment and treatment. Risk assessment and treatment. Okay. Now, my presentation outline will be like this. First, there will be an introduction of the topic. I'll introduce the topic. Then I will talk a little bit about risk classification, because they will feature, or it will feature in my presentation. Then I will dwell with case studies, actual case studies, and then I'll give my conclusions and recommendations. So this morning, my humble duty is to discuss how risk assessment principles have been applied to management of road projects. This will be done using case studies based mainly on my personal experiences. As you all know, project management of road construction in particular is a complex discipline that requires addressing many important concerns, including cost control, scheduling, procurement, and also risk assessment. When these usual activities are executed properly, it is expected that projects will run smoothly and required goals and objectives will be achieved. From observations, however, risk assessment is not given its equal attention as done to the other concerns, especially at the early stages of the project. However, risk has the potential to adversely impact on the quality, time, and cost of project, which might determine whether a project achieves its objectives and goals or otherwise. Risk classification. Risk may be classified in many ways, many ways. But today we shall be talking with reference to technical risk, scope creep risk, external risk, operational risk, health and safety risk, cost risk, performance risk. And I want to note here that risks may occur in multiples. And also one may lead to the occurrence of others. In my case studies, I will follow a certain methodology. And it will be like this. First, I will bring the case, and then I will talk about the mitigation measures that were applied or are being applied. And then I'll also talk about opportunities that were derived as a result of the risk and the risk assessment plans done. So first, let's look at our case study number 1. And I don't know whether my title is, but I hope it tells something. Potential technical risk due to misunderstanding of a project's definition and clauses. There is a potential technical risk due to a misunderstanding of how the definition a project has been given and the clauses supporting that definition. In this particular case, in this case study, a project had an ad-measured bills of quantities. That is to say, you do the contractor does the work, then measurement is done and is paid according to the bills, the prices or his units rates in the bills of quantities. But the same project also has a payment schedule, which is similar to a lump sum or a turnkey project. Again, the clauses in the particular conditions of contract did not specifically address whether the contract should be treated as an ad-measured type or a turnkey type, a lump sum type. The technical risk became obvious when the contractor started to raise invoices. It was not very clear whether to issue interim payment certificates based on ad measurement process or lump sum payment schedules. Now the implication is like this. Paying under ad measurement will mean that the contract will be subjected to variations. That means when quantities change or vary plus or minus, so will the cost. Meanwhile, the employer understands that the contract is a lump sum, therefore not subject to any variation, with the reason that the contractor was responsible for the designs and the pricing. This was a complex situation. How did we mitigate this risk? Finally, after several, deliberations and decisions, a value engineering was done to review the design without compromising the objectives of the project. Consequently, a payment procedure was agreed upon between all parties, and that was able to put the project back on track. The opportunities learned from here is that, when there is a risk, you always try to look for opportunities. It's like necessity is the mother of invention. The direct opportunity was the re-engineering of the project as a result of the impact of a technical risk. We were able to re-engineer the project without any extra cost, but without compromising on the goals and objectives of the project. The indirect opportunity was the need for a well-spelled out project definition and clauses during the contract management stage, I would say contract award stage. No, every project we want to award, we should be sure that there will be no ambiguities where a technical risk will arise. And this could have implications on cost, on performance, on time and everything. So this case gave us that opportunity to actually understand these issues. Now let me go to case study number 2. Case study number 2 is scope creep risk due to inadequate designs and drawings. When I say scope creep, is that like you assume or you have designed that a particular activity will be done within a certain quantity. But then you go to site, and all of a sudden, everything is overboard. So let's look at the case. The case is that the quantities of the item removal of unsuitable materials in the price bills of quantities was practically inadequate considering the existing ground conditions. In the base of quantity, there is an item removal of unsuitable materials, etc. So, but the quantities put there, the first encounter of unsuitable or very not a good material or good station revealed that the whole quantity is consumed. Now, there was a potential scope creep risk here because quantities are going to just overrun. That could also have affected cost and performance. Now, what were the mitigation measures we did? Now, there was early review of the design by the project management team, which informed the possibilities of increase of quantities of the item in question. This facilitated early preparation of variation orders, thus avoiding any impact or delays that might have been caused later. Opportunities that we got from here was that reviewing the design to further strengthen the existing subgrade using rock fill. You know, it has been assumed that maybe the subgrade was uniform with a certain strength. However, we observed that the subgrade in so many areas were below the allowable strength. And therefore, there was the need to actually strengthen the subgrade using rock fill. Now, the indirect benefit opportunity was that there must always be thorough survey and soil investigation done, especially during the preparation of the road designs. If thorough investigation, this has informed us that in any other project or in subsequent endeavors, we must do thorough field surveys and soil investigation to avoid having this type of risk. My third case study will deal with external risks due to commencement of other projects within the project zone. In this case, a contractor is awarded a project, and then from his initial assessment, he can transport his materials and equipment to site over a steel bridge. Then suddenly, another contract for the rehabilitation of the steel bridge commences, which required the closure of the steel bridge. There was a potential external risk that could have had negative implications on operations and hence cost. The mitigation measures here was that, fortunately, an initial risk assessment had been done, which provided the contractor alternative routes to use under this situation. Now, the opportunities we got from here is that during the risk assessment and looking for alternative routes, it was observed that there were similar roads within that zone, which could poach our workforce. So it means that risk of external this thing encouraged us to do analysis, which resulted into us observing that if we don't take good care of our workforce, there are other similar contractors within the zone who could have poached on our workforce. Case study number 4 is external risk due to inadequate and ineffective community engagement. Now, the case is like this. A project runs through communities where there are major farming and mining activities. Unfortunately, the communities had not been engaged earlier to understand the detailed components and implications of the project. There was an external with potential impact on operation and cost. There was an external risk with potential impact on operations and cost. What were the mitigation measures that we've put in place? Consequently, community involvement through engaging in community debates have been scheduled as contingency plan to mitigate this external risk. Now, opportunities are that all stakeholders, because of this risk, identifying this risk of not engaging the communities, and now addressing it by meeting the communities and all stakeholders through debates, we have been able to successfully engage us and bring all stakeholders on board, and then make them understand the objectives and goals of the project. This will allow a smooth implementation of the project. Let's look at case study number 5. Operational risks due to working within multiple projects. Operational risk due to working within multiple projects. In this case, a project for the construction of a dual carriageway road is awarded to 2 contractors, each constructing 1 carriageway. There is a potential operational risk here which can impact on performance and cost and others. What is the mitigation measure? This situation demanded harmonizing the construction schedules of the 2 contractors, particularly with respect to construction of cross culverts and other drainage structures. This allowed for collective setting out of culverts that ensured effective drainage of both carriageways. Opportunity. The complexity in allotting parallel projects to different contractors. This is what we have learned, that there is complexity in allotting parallel projects to different contractors. Anytime we are doing that, we should try and include clauses and other things that will ensure that both contractors work in harmony without compromising any part of the project. Now, conclusion and recommendation. To sum up, in our era of advanced technology, tools for performing risk assessment are readily available. The real challenge is awareness for project managers to be aware, because project managers need to understand that without proper risk assessment and treatment measures, the chances of successfully reaching a project goal and objective could be significantly reduced. Therefore, we recommend that risk assessment and management plans should be a requirement, as has been done for work plan and cash flow and others. There must be the importance, the need to request for risk assessment and management plans in project management situations. Thank you all for your time and attention. I hope there will be discussions on this, and any further time that we get opportunity, we can share with you other experiences that we have gained through the years of practice. Thank you very much.